best things about moving to the Denver, Colorado area is that there are so many great places to live. One of the hardest things about moving here is that there's so many great places to live, and it can make the decision-making process feel quite overwhelming. So what I wanted to do today was give you guys a complete virtual map tour of the entire Denver area and all of the surrounding cities to help you guys determine what is going to be the best place for you. So whether you're looking for great schools, access to the mountains, or affordable homes, so by the end of this video, you are going to know exactly where is going to work for you, and more importantly, what places are not going to work for you. Okay, so let's start off with a little orientation here. Here we've got the Denver map, all right? And actually this goes quite a bit out all the way to the mountains and all the way out to Kansas pretty much. Not quite to Kansas, but it's gonna feel like it here on the east side. We've got Denver here in the center. What we're gonna do for this video is I'm gonna break up the metro area into 4 different quadrants. So what I typically like to do is use I-25, which is our primary north-south highway, and use that as the dividing point between east and west. So as you can see here, Denver runs clear up north, almost right in the middle of our state, and we're going to trace this down. We're going to loop around Denver a little bit, come down here on the south side. So now we have our east and west quadrants. Anytime people tell us that they want to be closer to the mountains, we're always going to be focusing on the areas west of I-25. So now that we've got east and west, let's divide it between north and south. A good dividing point for that are going to be a couple actually. So we're going to use I-70 as a primary north-south divider because I-70 is the main interstate that will take you all the way out to literally Kansas and across the country, and then all the way out into the mountains as well. So if we trace that across here, you're going to see that this crosses over just on the north side of Denver, and then this is going to drop down just a little bit. This is where you are going to head out to all of the major ski resorts. Now we've got Denver broken up into north, south, east, and west. But I want to give you guys one more north-south divider, and that is going to be 470. Now, 470 is this big horseshoe that is going to go north on the east side. It's going to come south, and then we're going to go east and west on the south Denver metro area. And then it's going to curve back up north. Oops, got a little squiggly there. It's going to curve back up north and connect with I-70. One thing that's important to note is that on the east side of the state, 470 is going to be a toll road. So we're just going to go ahead and write toll in my little kid handwriting. So it's a toll road on the east side of I-25. It is free on the west side of I-25 as it cuts right through here in Highlands Ranch. 470 is a very, very popular road. You're going to be taking it a lot, especially if you're on the south side of town. And it is super handy to not only get east and west here pretty quickly, but also, like, let's say you live in the southeast Aurora area and you need to get to Boulder. 470 will actually take you all the way up and around, and you can bypass all of that busy I-25 traffic up to Boulder right here. So 470 is going to be a very, very popular road for you guys. It's also very handy, and even on the toll side, it's something that I recommend. Just budget for it because you can save so much time by taking that road. And for me, guys, if you're going to spend money on anything, saving some time is definitely one of the things that is worth it. So let's clear this out a little bit, and then I'm going to give us basically our north and south, east and west dividers here again. Let's start off with northern Colorado. Let's use our reference point again here of Denver, here on the south side now. First city that I want to cover with you guys is Fort Collins. So this is going to be quite a bit north of Denver. One of the reasons we don't cover a whole lot of Fort Collins is because this drive from Denver to Fort Collins is about an hour long. Fort Collins is one of those places where if you're living in Fort Collins, you're probably not coming to Denver on a regular basis. But that's okay because Fort Collins is all encompassing and has everything that you need, and you're probably not going to need to come to Denver on a regular basis. But it is important to note because a lot of the people that are moving here, whether it's just proximity to downtown Denver or Boulder or the airport, Fort Collins is just kind of on a little island of its own up there. Again, it's got everything that you need. It is a beautiful place. It is growing like crazy and is an amazing home for a lot of people. But we do find that a lot of folks that are relocating here from another state, Fort Collins can feel just a bit far. So oftentimes they end up opting for some of the southern cities in northern Colorado or just the southern Denver metro area in general. Some other major cities that you're going to encounter in northern Colorado are going to be Boulder. Technically, this is northwest. Broomfield, another very popular one here. If I zoom in here just a little bit, you're also going to see Longmont, which is another very popular one, in addition to Thornton. Now, in this northern Colorado area, let's talk about home prices a little bit. What I would say is, in general, in northern Colorado, you're definitely going to be looking at some more affordability than you are on the west side, close to the mountains, and even down on the south side. The one exception to that is going to be Boulder. Boulder, as I'm sure you guys probably know, that is going to be a more expensive area. Boulder just has this like, I don't know, nostalgic feel. I mentioned Fort Collins kind of being on its own little island up north earlier. Boulder is definitely its own little island. Now, when you're looking at average home prices out there, you're looking at about 1.2 million in Boulder. And according to the people that live out there, it is more than worth it. If we jump over here to Google Earth, one of the first things you're going to notice is just how close it is to the mountains. You know, you're looking at this ridge right along here. Let me get out my little marker. This ridge right here is the Front Range, and this is where you go from the city of downtown Boulder here on the right side, and then you're immediately going into the mountains. So Boulder is really just nestled up very, very close to the foothills. It's a beautiful combination of the sort of city living. You've got CU Boulder there, so it is a really, really good college town, and with great college towns come really good restaurants, tons of things to do, tons of activities, especially on the weekends. This proximity to the mountains means that there's never a shortage of Colorado outdoor activities for you guys to go and dive into, like mountain biking and hiking and rock climbing and skiing and snowboarding, and really just all the fun Colorado things that you guys love to do. In addition to that, even just living in Boulder, you're going to have some spectacular views of the mountains, and that's something that all of you guys are looking for when you come out here. So with all those things kind of put in one central location, as you can imagine, that's going to drive the average home prices up. Now, coming back to our map here, you're also going to see that Boulder has pretty good proximity to Denver. So we've got Boulder here, we've got Denver on the south side, and then you've got Highway 36 that is going to connect the two. Depending on traffic, this can be roughly about a 30 to 40 minute drive. But what you're also going to find here is some other areas, like we mentioned, Broomfield. You're also going to have Superior, Louisville, and Lafayette. All of these areas right here, these are a really good alternative if you're looking for proximity to Denver and proximity to Boulder with more affordable prices. Average home prices in these areas, including Broomfield, is going to be about $750,000, so quite a bit more less expensive than Boulder, but you really get the best of both worlds because, again, you can get to Denver pretty quick, you can get to Boulder pretty quick. And on top of that, you're still within an hour to the airport. And that's one of my favorite things about entire Denver area, guys, is, you know, just the way that it's laid out. A lot of you guys coming from states, especially like California, you may be looking at 2 hours to the airport easily. If we zoom out on the map here a bit, really the entire Denver metro area, I'm going to do my best to draw a circle here, I would say is about Boulder down here to Castle Rock. It's going to cover Aurora, and then back up around here. If you're driving in any one of these directions, you're about an hour from Denver in all these directions. Everything here is within an hour to Denver. And then you've got the airport right over here where it is on the east side. But like I said, from Boulder to the airport, you're looking at 45 minutes to an hour. From Castle Rock to the airport, you're looking at about 45 minutes. Southeast Aurora, very quickly at just about 20. And if you're coming out here from the west side, Golden, this is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour as well. This is what I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, guys, where making a decision can be pretty difficult because there's so many great places within this bubble right here that is all within an hour to Denver and an hour to the airport. Now, as far as school districts, Boulder has the #1 school district in the Denver metro area. But if you're not in Boulder, you're either going to be looking at Adams County or Jefferson County, both of which are within the top 5 best school districts in the area. So honestly, any place that you choose in northern Colorado, chances are you're going to have a great school district to pick from. Now, another important factor is going to be age of homes out here. A lot of you guys that are coming here looking for new homes or newer style homes, you might not be able to find too many of those in Boulder. So if that's what you're looking for, you're most likely going to have to go a little bit east, focus on some areas area like Erie or these three that are right here, this Firestone, Frederick, Tucano, there's a ton of new builds that are going on really in this entire area. Again, you're getting a little bit further east from the mountains, but you're still going to have great mountain views. Honestly, the proximity to I-25, if you're living in these areas, is going to be a huge bonus, because if you do need to get to Denver on a regular basis, it's a quick jaunt over to the highway, and then you're just heading straight down into Denver here. Now, another important thing to note is that the closer you get to the mountains, whether that's on the north side or the south side, just understand that those areas were really developed first. I like to call it kind of our beachfront property, right? Even though it's mountain front or front range. So oftentimes, you know, in like coastal cities, they built homes along the coast first and then kind of expanded from there. So they're going to be a little bit older the closer you get to the mountains. In addition to that, they're often going to be higher priced. Again, proximity to mountains. So many people are looking for that out here. So there's going to be more demand for those homes. There's also not a whole lot of places to build that close to the mountains. So it's kind of like what's there is there. And if you are looking for something that is newer or more affordable, you're definitely going to have to plan on heading just a little bit east. So this is often a decision that we help clients navigate, because it's kind of that blend of finding views, finding proximity to the mountains, but a lot of you guys love newer communities. So it's like, hey, how far east can we go without being too far east to where we still feel like we're in Colorado, but we get a home in the price range that we want, and we get a home in the condition that we want with the newer and modern layouts. All right, now let's dive into Western Colorado. Using our reference point here of Denver, like I said before here, we're going to take I-25. That's going to split the state between east and west. And over here, some of the major places that you're going to encounter on your home search would be some places like Arvada, Golden, Lakewood, potentially Morrison, but we'll touch on that. It's a small one. And then just Western Denver that we have here. As I just previously mentioned, the closer we get to the mountains, the older things are going to get, as well as the older homes are going to get out there. You're also going to see a little bit higher prices, because again, they can't really develop very much by the mountains because everything's been built for the most part. So you have a supply and demand issue to where they can't really make a whole lot more supply. One of the cool things about getting out west is that you are going to have a lot more like this classic sort of historic charm that a lot of you guys are looking for in a city. Here, I just zoomed over to Arvada, Colorado. I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit, and I want to give you guys a little bit of perspective just in terms of what the mountains sort of look like out here. Now, as you guys can see, I mean, you have just gorgeous views of the Front Range, and this is really going to be anywhere that you're living here on the west side. You're also going to see that it's pretty densely populated. Again, when I mentioned that there's not a whole lot of places to build, this is exactly why. So there is going to be very much a city feel, even in some place like Arvada. What you're also going to find, though, true to Denver, are just a lot of parks and lakes and open space. You are going to see more lakes and things like that on the northern side of Colorado than on the southern side of Colorado. So if, you know, having some place like Berkeley Lake here is important for you to have near where you're living, keep an eye out for that, because man, it's a great place to go and take your dog for a walk, just go out and get a little bit of exercise. And here you're going to see I-70 that runs just right out into the mountains, as we talked about before. And as we just kind of zoom in here, just kind of cruise around a little bit, you're going to see that homes are going to be a little bit older. These have a little bit more of a Denver feel as far as Denver sized lots. You've got plenty of mature trees. And when I say older, I'm typically talking about like the 70s and 80s here for Arvada particularly. Now, another popular one that you're going to have as we're looking on the west side is going to be Golden. Now, a lot of you guys that reach out to us looking to be close to the mountains, Golden is oftentimes at the top of your list, and for good reason. Let me come over here to our map. I'm going to zoom in on Golden for you. Golden, not Golden Corral, Golden, Colorado is a historic mining town. It's also a college town similar to Boulder. They have the Colorado School of Mines there, so a bunch of smart kids out there. This is a very, very historic mining town. Some of these homes might be 100 years old. I'll go ahead and zoom in just on one of the streets here nearby the college, show you guys just kind of what these homes look like. So let me come out here to the street just a little bit. Very cute, almost like Victorian style homes. Obviously, you know, these have been like refurbished and stuff like that. These probably aren't quite 100-year-old homes, but you'll find, you know, sort of like typical city-sized lots out here to where you will have smaller lots. But again, you're not moving to Golden for a giant lot or acreage or anything like that. You're going there for the small town vibe. You're going there for proximity to the mountains. You guys can see here, like, look how close you are to the mountains. I mean, it's literally just at the end of the block here. We're also going to have a lot of parks out here, not a whole ton of open space, but a lot of hiking trails and things like that. This is downtown Golden right here. Again, very old homes. So if you're not looking for an old home in the college town, but you still love the proximity to the mountains, there are some neighborhoods here that are surrounding this North Table Mountain. This is just a big, I think the technical term is like mesa or something, if I remember middle school correctly. If we come down here to some of these neighborhoods that are surrounding it, let's jump down to one of these streets here to give you guys just kind of a look at some of these homes that they have here. These are going to be a little bit newer, definitely not 100-year-old homes here, but look how they're just nestled around the base of the mountain there. These are going to be probably late 90s to early 2000 builds. Look at the walking trails, the greenery that we have around here. You also do not have cookie cutter style homes at all, which just makes it a very desirable area for people that are looking for sort of that mountain living feel while being close to everything. You know, and this is pretty much as close as you can get to feeling like you're living in the mountains without needing to make a lot of the accommodations that you would normally have to make if you're actually living in the mountains, such as having, you know, ATV to plow your long driveway. Like, this is going to feel like you're just living in a normal neighborhood, but with the mature trees and the proximity to the mountains and the foothills and everything like that, it's one of those places where you're definitely going to feel like you're living in Colorado. Now, one of my favorite things about Golden is downtown Golden. Now, they have a Main Street strip that is super cool. They have a lot of the old restaurants, like 100-year-old restaurants that are there. We just had dinner the other night at Capitol Grill that is in downtown Golden. Just learned when I was there that Golden was the actual capital of Colorado before Denver was. So hence the Capitol Grill. It feels like this old little mining town. It also is sort of a popular touristy type of place, even with local tourists. So for example, we don't live in Golden, but it's often a place we may go on the weekend and just go check out some of the shops, get some good food down there, walk around or hit one of the trails with the family. It does tend to get pretty busy there with traffic on the weekends. Also considering that it is a college town, so you just have a lot of the local traffic there as well. Now, Golden is pretty much built for the most part. There are homes older than 2000, so you're going to see like those 100-year-old homes, 1990s to 2000s builds, and then you are going to find some that are as new as about 2015. But as far as I know, with maybe the exception of a couple little pocket neighborhoods, there's not a whole lot of new construction happening there. So again, you kind of have a supply and demand issue there to where they're really just not making a whole lot of new homes out there. With that being said, you're looking at an average price point of about $800. So again, substantially less than Boulder, with a lot of the Boulder perks that come with living up there, just at a lot more affordable price. All right, guys, want to interrupt real quick to remind you that we are licensed real estate brokers. So as much as we love making these videos, we love more to help you with your real estate needs. There's a phone number popping up on the screen right now. If you throw us a phone call, text message, or email, we would love to help you out. Jump on a quick Zoom call with you, discuss your particular situation, give you our 2 cents about which one of these places could be the best for you, and maybe even give you some ideas on some you haven't thought of. So we'd love to hear from you guys, but I'll shut up now. Let's get right back to the content. Now, before we move on from Arvada, even though I did just a little bit, I want to circle back to Arvada. I want to touch on just one thing anytime someone's looking at moving to Arvada that I like to bring up. Let's kind of reorient you guys here. So Denver here at the very bottom of the map, we've got Arvada. What you're going to find here in Northwest Arvada, this block right here, where it looks like there's a whole bunch of nothing. Well, if we zoom in, this is called the Rocky Flats National Wildlife Refuge. Way back in the day, as in, man, I want to say 1950s and 60s, this actually used to be some sort of nuclear waste or nuclear production facility. It had something to do with nuclear energy. Sometime in the 70s, there was some nuclear leak here or something. Again, do your own research. research. I don't have all the details. I just know that it was nuclear. Denver was actually popping high for radiation. They traced it right back here. Obviously, this was the culprit. They ended up shutting the whole thing down, and they say everything's been mitigated and everything is safe and all of that. However, do your own due diligence if you're going to be living anywhere around this Rocky Flats National Wildlife Refuge. To each his own. Some people don't care that much about that. A lot of people do care a lot about that. And there's one neighborhood in particular that I always like just, giving people a heads up. And that's this neighborhood right here. So that's going to be called Candelas. This is a newer neighborhood. I want to say mid 2000s. It literally borders right along Rocky Flats. There are some absolutely gorgeous homes down here. Let's zoom in and we'll take a look at some of them. Beautiful neighborhood, beautiful views. If you back to Rocky Flats, you're going to have some nice open space views, but you can see these are just big, beautiful homes. The neighborhood itself is very appealing. However, man, I don't know if I'd want to live that close to a former nuclear site. Do with that information as you will. For the rest of Arvada, really the only place that I really like giving a heads up is Candelas. However, if you're living anywhere in the immediate proximity to Rocky Flats, it's also a conversation we're going to have. Would I say don't move to Arvada at all? Absolutely not. There's quite a bit of distance between Rocky Flats and downtown Arvada. If you're living anywhere in this immediate proximity, it's definitely something you're going to want to be aware of. Just so that you can do your own research, gauge your level of risk there, right? So don't want to harp on that too much, guys, but I figured for this video, when we're giving you like the raw, honest truth about all of these areas, this is something I definitely didn't want to skip over. Now let's come down here to Lakewood. Again, we're still focusing on the west side. Lakewood is a very, very big city. For reference, we've got Denver, and then Lakewood is pretty much going to be south of 6th Avenue. Now, 6th Avenue is a major east-west highway that runs from pretty much Denver all the way out to where it meets up here with I-70 on the west side, and you can get quite a bit of traffic here on 6th Avenue. And there's no HOV or toll lane or anything like that where you can pass the traffic, so you're kind of stuck with whatever traffic happens to be on 6th Avenue at the time. Lakewood is going to cut off here at I-25 on the east side. 285 or Hamden is going to be your south side border. 470 that runs up north is going to be your west side borders. Lakewood here, it's a really, really big city. I also want to break Lakewood up into halves here. So we're going to split it right down the middle. I believe that this is Wadsworth here. Let me zoom in and see. Yep, so this is Wadsworth Boulevard. We'll come back out here. The reason I wanted to split up Lakewood between east and west is because it feels like two very different Lakewoods here. So I'm going to give us our little outline again. Now, if we are on the east side of Lakewood here, this is going to feel very Denver, all right? And it practically is just west side Denver, like southwest Denver. Smaller lots, older homes. You are looking at a lot more affordability here. The average price point for all of Lakewood is about $650, and that's pretty much on par with Denver's average price point. On the east side of Lakewood, very urban, older homes, smaller lots. But on the west side of Lakewood here, this is where, again, the closer you get to the mountains, the homes just start changing and having a completely different look and feel, particularly in this Green Mountain area that's right here. I want to show you guys that on Google Earth because it is just a unique spot and almost has a golden type of vibe to it. This Lakewood is going to feel drastically different than east side Lakewood. We come down here, you are going to see older homes. As we mentioned, homes closer to the mountains are typically going to be older, but look at how the homes are just tiered kind of up the mountains. You've got some beautiful fall colors here. They're non-cookie cutter. The homes here are very unique. Like these homes right here, man, they're just gonna have some phenomenal views. Let's jump down to the street view and take a look at some of these. So we're just gonna cruise the street here a little bit. Up here, which we can't really see, you've got the Green Mountain that sits right behind these homes. Let's see, I'm gonna see if I can find us a good view. That is not a good view. Very unique homes. See how they're all just like very, very different from each other? We've done some showings up here where they're just some crazy homes, just very uniquely designed. But here you can see just the Green Mountain right behind it. Now, what's also cool about these homes is that these, especially the ones that sit kind of on the back of the hill here, I'm not sure if we can see, but there's going to be some beautiful views of downtown Denver as well. So just one of the unique things about living in this neighborhood is you're going to have some beautiful mountain views right behind you. And then in addition to that, you're going to have some really good views of downtown Denver. A lot of these homes, these are 70s, 80s, and 90s homes, a little bit older. So you guys can see here as we're coming down this road, can't really see downtown Denver, but as you guys can imagine, right down here, just a little bit on the north side, you can see completely to downtown. It's just a really, really cool spot. West side Lakewood, guys, completely different world from east side Lakewood. So as you're exploring Lakewood, potentially for proximity to mountains with a little bit more affordability, that's definitely something that you're going to want to keep in mind. All right, now before we're done on the west side here, there's a couple places that definitely deserve an honorable mention. The first of which is going to be Morrison, Colorado. It is going to be located just southwest of Denver. So here we've got Denver in the top right of the map. Here we've got Lakewood, which we just talked about, and Morrison is going to be this small little city right here next to this Bear Creek Lake Park. One of the reasons I wanted to throw Morrison on here is because there is a new community out there called Red Rocks Ranch by Lennar Homes. Now, I'll go ahead and throw this on here so you guys can see some of their footage that they have here. Now, this area is so unique because you're just not going to find a new build community this close to the foothills, this far north. So now Morrison is just a small little city that pretty much anyone was ever going to if they were going to a show at Red Rocks Amphitheater. Outside of that, it is so small that just, man, not a whole lot of people are going there. Now, as you guys can see here, directly across from 470, that's that highway that you see there in the background, Lennar has built this community of townhomes and single family homes. Now, this is a fairly small neighborhood. It is going to be getting a little bit bigger. As you can see, there is a little bit of open space around there. Guys, this is by far the newest homes that you can get this close to the foothills. Again, being this up north. So I wanted to throw this on here because if you guys are okay with maybe a little bit smaller yard, but being close to the mountains is super important to you guys, and close proximity to C470, this is definitely going to be a place you'll want to check out. Directly across the street from Red Rocks Ranch, which is that Lennar Homes community I was just talking to you about, which is located right here, you're going to have Bear Creek Lake Park. Now I'm going to jump over here to Google Earth to show you guys exactly what that looks like. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe that this is a small state park. So as you guys can see, we've got a big lake here. You've got some trails that go all the way around it, and I'm going to change my angle here a little bit. What's kind of funny, this Soda Lakes right here. So Soda Lakes, you'll actually see people wakeboarding on this quite a bit. It's actually pretty funny. So you have this little beach over here, and there's like boats that'll go up and down here, so you can actually wakeboard right near the mountains, which is very cool. Or if you live over here in Red Rocks Ranch, which Google Maps has not updated yet, but this is where that new community is, you're literally just across the street from all of this. And then if I change the angle a little bit more, these are your views across 470 here. So absolutely gorgeous, absolutely spectacular. Now, another couple honorable mentions here, which are on the west side, but we're starting to get our way down south a little bit, but these aren't quite south enough to be included in the southern section, but they're definitely popular areas that I want to show you guys. One of them is going to be Littleton right here, which Littleton is very popular. I'm sure you guys have heard quite a bit about that. It is also has very much of a cute historic downtown. One of the unique things about Littleton is that it does actually have a light rail stop in it. Light rail is like our mass transit train. So if taking mass transportation or public transportation is important to you, but you don't want to live in Denver, Littleton is going to be a good option. Let me come over here to Google Earth because I want to show you guys just a little bit what downtown Littleton looks like here. I think this is actually going to take us right to the light rail station. Yep, it sure is. So we've got the light rail station right here, and then Littleton just has a very, very cute, very walkable downtown. Again, this is a very popular destination for people on the weekends where you have, oh, it took me right into a bar. Look at that. Where you got a lot of these mom and pop bars out here. And let me see if I can actually get out of the bar. Oh geez, I've never actually fallen into a place before. Let's see if I can navigate my way around here. Okay, well, we're just going to take this tour of this Littleton bar. and maybe it'll get us out of here if I can find out how to do this. All right, one sec, guys. I will be right back. Phew. All right, I made it out of the bar. Now here we are on Main Street in Littleton. As you guys can see, it's just a really cute place. It's very walkable. All these places have outside patios and, you know, rooftop patios out here where you can go have some drinks, enjoy the beautiful weather. You can see we're facing west. We've got the mountains right down here. So just a very, very cute and quaint place. When it comes to the rest of Littleton, what you're going to find is that we do have some fairly affordable price points out there. You're going to be around a $650 average price point as far as the homes that are out there. You are going to find some slightly older homes. A lot of Littleton was built in the mid 1900s, so 1950s, 1960s. I'd say the majority of homes that are out there that you'll see now are around 1970s to maybe the 80s. So again, if you're looking for maybe a little bit of an older home, but you love this like cute downtown, quaint Colorado city, Littleton is going to be a good choice for you. The other thing that draws a lot of people to Littleton is the school district. The school district is great. It is fairly small, but they rank very high in a lot of different areas, especially academically. And oftentimes Littleton is on the top 3 out of the top 5 school districts in the Denver metro area. As we're talking about Littleton, I'm going to come back over here to the map, and I am going to go pretty far south, but we are going to be pretty far west, and that's going to be this area that we've got right here, which is Sterling Ranch. Now, Sterling Ranch is a newer community. It is a master plan community, and it is still in its infancy stage. Well, maybe more like its toddler stage, because it is growing, but it has a lot more to grow. One of the coolest things about Sterling Ranch is just the close proximity that you're going to have here to Roxborough State Park, which you've got right here. So I'm going to jump over to Google Earth. I want to show you guys some views from Sterling Ranch. All right, so here we are going to zoom over to Sterling Ranch. I'm going to zoom out just a touch here. So let's go ahead and get you reoriented. So we've got Sterling Ranch down here. Here we've got 470. We talked about that before. I-25. And then Denver is sitting just up north here. You are sitting a little bit here on the southwest side. You're a little bit way of a ways from 470. This trip here is probably about 7 to 10 minutes to get on the highway before you can really get places. But if you guys can see just really how close you are to Roxborough State Park. So I'm going to zoom in here and then change our angle and cruise around to show you guys a little bit about what this looks like. So again, kind of like when we were looking at Red Rocks Ranch up in Morrison, when we're talking new build communities that are very close to the mountains. These are the views that you get at Sterling Ranch, and some of these lots that we have out there are absolutely spectacular. We just did a video a few weeks ago where we toured some homes out there, and some of the views off of decks and balconies on those homes are just spectacular. And then if we come back here a little bit, I'm just going to show you some of the terrain that you have here out in Roxborough. You get some of the red rock formations here that you have up in Morrison, and then there are some crazy homes that you have nestled right back here. These are going to be in like anywhere from 2 to probably 5 million. You've got a beautiful golf course that goes through here, but this is just such a cool little neighborhood. Anytime I get an opportunity to come out here and show some homes, I absolutely jump on it because it's absolutely gorgeous. So Sterling Ranch, I couldn't go on from this video while we're talking about the west side without mentioning Sterling Ranch. Again, we are on the south side, but new build homes, extremely close to the mountains. You're on the south side, but the views out there are so... All right, now let's go ahead and dive down to the south side. We cover a lot of the south side on our channel. I would say we are a little biased to living down here. Both Will and I live down sort of on the south side of the Denver metro area. I live a little bit further out east, so does he, but we are on the south side. But frankly, we do just find that there is so much going on down here that a lot of you guys that are moving here from another state where you could live anywhere in the state, you just naturally choose to settle down on the south side. So again, we've got a lot of clients that like it. We are a little biased because we live down here ourselves, but we do service the whole state. Let me jump over to the map here. Just a few of the big cities that you're going to come across when you're looking at the southern Denver metro side. The 3 primary ones that you're going to see are Highlands Ranch, Castle Rock, Parker. Kind of go over these because they're all going to be similar but a little bit different. Highlands Ranch is going to be your big master plan community. Highlands Ranch was primarily developed in the late 90s to early 2000s, and there's not a whole lot of new builds that are going on out there right now, really, if any at all. If you're okay with maybe a slightly older home, but you love mature neighborhoods and Tons of commercial, tons of shopping, big master plan communities. They have 4 community centers out there that if you live anywhere in Highlands Ranch, you can have access to any of those rec centers. And each of those rec centers has its own little theme to go along with it. So it's pretty cool, very, very family friendly. And it is Douglas County school districts. All of these cities, Highlands Ranch, Parker, and Castle Rock, and actually Sterling Ranch that I just mentioned before, they're all going to be Douglas County School District, which again, always ranks in the top 5. They do very well academically and very well with sports. The average home price in Highlands Ranch is going to be about $750,000, so a little bit higher than Littleton, a little bit higher than Denver. Now, down here in Castle Rock, in my opinion, is one of the best places because you're going to get affordability, you're going to get views, you're going to get a lot of Colorado nature down here. So with all of those 3 things combined, Castle Rock tends to be a top choice for a lot of people that are coming here. As far as age of homes and things like that, you know, you're going to find some older homes out here, but you're going to find a lot of new builds. Because it is located on the south side of town, there's room to develop down there. Not everything's been developed on the southern metro side. So you're going to find a lot of new build communities. Macanta and Montaigne are some of the newer, more popular ones that are out there. And just going over here, look at this Colorado terrain where you have these bluffs and foothills. You're not too terribly close to the mountains because we're a little bit further east, but you have your own mountains that come here within Castle Rock itself. And that's one of the reasons that I love it, because not only do you just get to look to the west and see the mountains, but you also get so much of this cool terrain just in and around your actual neighborhood. This is one of my favorite parks I'll take my son to, Philip S. Miller Park. It is huge. They've got these big obstacle courses out here. Like, check this thing out. Well, that looks like a mess, but big obstacle courses. They've got zip lines, just tons of fun things for the kiddos. They've got amphitheaters out here for just local events and things like that. But this sort of terrain that you see within the city itself, this is all just very Colorado or Castle Rock specific. You're not going to find this really in any of our other metro cities within the city itself. That's just something that's very unique about Castle Rock. Now, as far as travel times, it looks like it's far on a map. And actually, I'll zoom out here just a little bit further so you guys can see where Castle Rock is at in conjunction with Denver. So here we've got Denver on the north side, Castle Rock on the south side. It looks like quite a trek, but in reality, with no traffic, I've mapped it. You can test it. I'll get people that leave comments all the time saying, no, it's way further, but no traffic, it's 35 to 40 minutes. With traffic, if there's an accident on I-25 or something, you might be looking at 45 minutes to an hour. You know, if you're not having to go to Denver all the time, that really is not necessarily a bad thing. Now, talking public transit, there is going to be a park and ride right here across from Lone Tree. So right around this area will be a place where you can park your car and you can take that train all the way to downtown. So if you did need to travel to Denver every day, technically all you would need to do is get from Castle Rock to Lone Tree, which is probably about 10 minutes, park there, and then you could take the train all the way to downtown. So you would save yourself a ton of time and money with traffic. Now, if you're looking to go to the airport from Castle Rock, it's probably about a 40 to 45 minute drive, but again, under an hour, which makes it still very desirable for a lot of folks. On the more east side here, we've got Parker. So let me go ahead and jump on into Parker here on Google Earth. Parker is going to be a little bit more spread out than Castle Rock. You're going to have a mix of new build homes more on the west side here. You're going to have some older homes on the east side here. So you've got a little bit of everything within Parker. And I'll just jump into this Stonegate neighborhood. This one is a little bit older. This was developed probably around Highlands Ranch time frame, so late 90s, early 2000s. Mature trees that you're not going to find in a brand new community. This is just a good sort of like average Parker neighborhood, as I would put it. Average home prices out here are going to be probably $7 to about $750 or so. Then if we come out here, and now if you're in Parker, there is a really cool Main Street area. I'm going to zoom in here to Main Street. It does have that sort of, you know, cute historic downtown charm, but it is fairly small, as in just really a few blocks. So here we are in Main Street. This is O'Brien Park right here. It's a massive park. I take my kid here all the time in the summer, and there's a big pool there as well. And as we come down Main Street, this is classic old Parker. You've got cute little like restaurants, great place right here. You've got the Tailgate, which is a classic Parker bar. They've got live music there in the summertime. Here you've got Fika Coffee House. This place also very popular. In Parker, you'll get a lot of foot traffic here. They have a summer event here called Parker Days, which is always a fun thing to go do. When it comes to Parker though, this is, I would say, maybe the one downside. You do have this great Main Street area, but you don't really have a good central location where you can do like all your shopping and dining. Now, don't get me wrong, there's literally everything that you need in Parker. You've got all of your chain stores, your chain restaurants, you've got the cute downtown on Main Street, but everything's just kind of spread out. You know, one of the things I like about Castle Rock is the outlet shopping centers that they have there, where there's the Whole Foods, there's all the outlet stores that you can imagine, there's a movie theater, there's all of these places that are all kind of condensed into this one spot. And then they also have downtown Castle Rock, which is similar to Main Street here, but they have a lot more stuff going on out there. With Parker, they don't really have a central mall or a central location. That's kind of what my one gripe about it. And I've lived in Parker for a long time. Previous to me moving where I live now, I lived in Parker for about 5 or 6 years. And then that's also the place where my family moved when we first came to Colorado. So Parker will always hold a special place in my heart. For me though, it almost lacks a little bit of identity, but a lot of people love calling it home. My sister lives there. I lived there for a long time, so I don't want to talk poorly about it. I really just wish it had like a central shopping area. If it had that, I'd be totally happy. Now, speaking to a certain neighborhood in Parker that I want to mention, here we've got Central Parker right here. But if we come down on the south side of Parker, there's this neighborhood right here called the Pinery. Now, the Pinery is super unique. It feels like mountain living in the sense of there's trees everywhere. There's a lot of deer out there. The lots are kind of like different shaped. It's not all cookie cutter. The homes out there will be a little bit older. For certain price points, they're going to be older. Right around like the mid 7s, you're going to have some older homes that are maybe 80s and 90s. If you get up to about 1.2 and up to maybe 2, there are some new homes that are out there. I want to jump over here to Google Earth. All right, so here's the country club, and it does have a golf course. If we come out of here, you'll see the golf course here central, and then you're going to see Pinery Parkway, which kind of loops up and around. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can take us down to street level here so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about when I mention just almost that sort of like mountain living. Now here, obviously, we're not in the mountains, so we don't have many mountains to look at, but you'll just see there's pine trees everywhere. The properties just have different lot lines than you would typically see in a neighborhood. There's deer that just go all throughout this neighborhood all of the time. There's also no sidewalks. Certain parts of the Pinery do have sidewalks. It is very family friendly, but these are how mountain roads look like. Like if you're looking up in Evergreen, this is exactly what you can expect to see up there, just kind of twisty, turny roads. Now I'm going to come in here because I want to go and show you guys this lake that they have here. Really cool lake. I think it's about exactly a mile around. This is where, like when I was in high school, I'd do all my exercising and running and stuff whenever I did run, back in the day when I did run. Again, beautiful homes that overlook the lake. So even though they are slightly older, like look at these, like this looks like something that would be in the Midwest or maybe even the East Coast with just these huge front yards, really green grass. It's just a really special area. And then you've got these views that are overlooking the west side here. I wanted to make sure to point out the Pinery because this is just such a unique area. It's just very different. So if you guys are looking for something that is just not cookie cutter, very Colorado, very different, very family friendly, and just beautiful trails that go all throughout your neighborhood, I would highly recommend checking out Parker. Finally, let's go to the east side and show you guys what is going on over there. Let's reorient. We've got Denver here right in the middle. We've got I-25 that is breaking us up east and west. Everything on the east side of I-25 here, you'll obviously get Denver, which will be blocked out right around there. But then once you get east of here, it's pretty much Aurora. Now, one thing I like to note here is just how big Aurora is. Aurora will actually border right up here, actually right by the airport. It's going to come over here. It's going to cut off in Denver, and then it's going to come down, pretty much trace parts of I-25 that come down. This will be Centennial, and then Aurora is going to go all the way down here and actually touch Parker. It's easy to just lump Aurora into all of Aurora. Now, what I mean by that is not all of Aurora is going to feel the same. If you look at Highlands Ranch, Highlands Ranch is all going to be pretty much feeling like Highlands Ranch. Same with Lakewood for the most part, minus the east and west. Same with a Morrison, same with a Parker. However, Aurora is really broken up into 3 different parts. If you were to take this same footprint of Aurora, lift it up and put it on the west side of I-25, it would take up roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 10 major cities make up the same footprint as just Aurora. It is important to know the sort of different sections of Aurora. With Aurora, it's really broken up into 4 different sections, okay? You're gonna have the northern Aurora section here, which is more densely populated. It's located right next to Denver. This is also the oldest part of Aurora. Let's call that broken up like right there. And then here, we're gonna have Central Aurora. Central Aurora, a little bit newer, but was mostly developed, I would say, late 80s, early 90s. Okay, so a little bit newer homes than Northern Aurora, but the South Aurora is going to be the newest. All right, and then the 4 section right here, let's just call it East Aurora. This is the newest and most affordable. Aurora Highlands is a neighborhood that's being built out here. We've done a tour on that neighborhood. That's going to be a whole other giant master plan community. So when it comes to Aurora, just understand that there are some different sections. They're all going to feel pretty drastically different from each other, yet it is all just called Aurora. A couple of the most popular areas that I'll cover with you guys are going to be 2 of them. The first one is going to be down here on the southeast side of the Southern Aurora portion. This is where we've done a lot of videos when it comes to South Shore, a neighborhood down here. You've got Talon's Reach, you've got Blackstone Country Club, you've got Saddle Rock out here as well. There are a ton of neighborhoods out here. What I love is that you've got this huge Aurora Reservoir. They call them reservoirs out here because it's like a man-made lake, but ultimately it's a lake. And what's cool about this lake is that there are no boats allowed, so no motorized vehicles. This did take me right down here to the little beach that they have down here. So this is pretty cool. This is open whether you live in the neighborhood or not, but look at this like beach that you have here out in middle of South Aurora. And it's super cool. You can take your paddle boards out there and you'll see quite a bit of people that come out here for their morning walk around the trail here that they have. And this is a big one. I think this one actually might be 3 miles. And then all these homes that you see here kind of surrounding it, these are all mostly going to be the South Shore neighborhood homes. A lot of times when you're doing tours of these homes, you'll go in the garage and you'll see people with their paddle boards up. So it's definitely like part of the lifestyle. Now I want to turn here sideways because you are further away from the mountains. You can definitely still see the mountains, especially depending on your lot, but you don't necessarily have those views that you're going to have from like a Sterling Ranch or a Morrison. The big thing that draws a lot of people out here is the affordability. So you can find some amazing homes out here, brand new homes that are on the lake for like $8 to $850 or $9. When you look at all encompassing, you've got Cherry Creek school districts out there, which are one of the most popular ones and one of the highest rated ones, especially for their sports programs. With the new homes, with proximity to the shopping and dining that they have and proximity to the lake, man, that's a combination that's hard to beat for a lot of people. Now, the other thing that draws a lot of people out here is proximity to the airport. Right here, remember we were talking about 470 earlier. Let me zoom out just a little more. You're gonna see here, so here we've got 470 that cuts right through South Aurora, and that's gonna take you right to the airport. If getting to the airport on a regular basis is important to you, this is probably just a 25 or 30-minute drive, which makes it very, very appealing for people. And it's all toll road too, so there's like never any traffic on it. And honestly, it might not even take 30 minutes to get out there. This is a really just easy drive. We'll have a lot of people, especially pilots and stuff. We've had a lot of pilots move here this year for some reason. This is an area that they're always interested in. As we're exploring East Aurora over here, we've got Murphy Creek. We've also got Aurora Highlands neighborhood. I'm going to jump over to the Aurora Highlands website because the maps aren't quite updated. It is still pretty new. So check this out. So here's just some footage of the Aurora Highlands neighborhood out there. So some of these things are going to be graphic renderings because they are still in the very early process, but they have all these cool art features that are out there. There's tons of open space, tons of trails. That view of the mountains, that was being a little gracious. I don't think they're ever going to look that close, but they've got new schools that are out there. And a big part of what this community is going to offer is just a lot more commercial coming into the space. So a lot of like mixed use areas, so residential with commercial. Again, when it's like parks and art features, a lot of just things that are very, very Colorado. I'm super excited about the Aurora Highlands. This is also where you're gonna find probably the most affordable places in Colorado right now. So average home prices out here are probably gonna be in the 600 to 650 range. They're really doing this because the east side of Colorado is not really that developed. When I mentioned California earlier, where it's like, hey, a lot of these places, you might have a 2-hour drive to the airport. If you're talking to someone here in Colorado that's been here for 30 or 40 years, or they're a native, they're gonna tell you like, hey, we're full, don't move here, right? Potentially they may say that. But the reality is there is so much undeveloped land out here, it is ridiculous. The thing is, it's mostly here on the east side. If you've got Denver right here, I'm telling you guys, between Denver and Kansas, there's almost nothing built over here. So just now starting to really build out this East Aurora area. Again, they're doing a great job because you're going to be more on the plains side of things. They're doing a great job of bringing a lot of nature to you by keeping a lot of open space, by putting in that little stream that you saw there, and hiking trails and things like that, or walking trails rather. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do here on the east side. Between the affordability and the new homes, you're seeing a lot of people go out there fast, so it is starting to really grow. I would just say out here, the one thing that they don't have a whole lot of is a lot of commercials. So, you don't have a ton of grocery stores out there yet. You don't have a big old Target out there yet. A lot of sort of the big chains that you're going to see in a lot of these other established cities. It hasn't quite gotten there yet, but just as things go, you start building some homes out there and then the commercial follows. It's only a matter of time, honestly, probably just a few years before that area is fully like hustling and bustling. Now, I know this was a long one today, and I appreciate you guys taking some time to spend with me on this, but hopefully you found this helpful. Really just breaking down some of the major sections of Colorado and then some of the major cities within those sections to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse for each one of those, if it might have something to offer you, or maybe it doesn't, and you learned about a new area that maybe you didn't know about before. So I hope that happened with you. And if you guys are curious, for you specifically, with your particular situation, with your timeline, with your family, or just whatever your situation is coming out here, you're gonna see a phone number popping up on the screen below. Go ahead and throw us a phone call, text message, or email. We'd love to jump on a quick 30-minute Zoom call with you, go over your specific situation, jump on the MLS, find some areas that could work for you, and honestly, do kind of what we did here on this video, but for you specifically. We love hearing from you guys from our YouTube channel. So again, I appreciate you spending some time with us. Feel free to give us a phone call, text message, or email. We'd love to help you out, and we'll see you guys in the next video.